In northwest Nigeria, fighting between armed groups and the army has reportedly forced international aid group Medecins Sans Frontieres to evacuate some of its staff in the area. The MSF says an escalation of violence in Zamfara state prompted the agency to withdraw part of its staff from Zomi town, where clashes occurred around the local hospital. A spokesperson says 6 non-essential international staff were evacuated, while other international and national foreign staff remained. According to the UN's IOM Migration Agency, violence in northwest and north-central Nigeria has also displaced around 1 million people, but aid groups are less present in that region. And to unpack the security challenges in Nigeria, I'm now being joined live on the news by Ojobaro Michael, a peace and security analyst. Good morning. I'm glad to have you join me on the news.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, what do you think are some of the root causes of the recent escalation of violence and insecurity in Nigeria, particularly in the north?
You are saying in the north, this is not this thing happening in the north is not happening today. They are not fresh incidents, they are not fresh attacks, they are not fresh kidnapping. The challenge in our society, I remember those years back when we were in the north, it looked as though it's a norm until when the people living in the north decided to take responsibility for the security of their lives and property. If the people that are living in a particular community does not take responsibility, there is a limit to what the government or the security agency can do. So the first priority is the people. Are the people within the northeast, within the southeast, or within the northwest, are they ready to live a peaceful life? Those are things that we need to first of all discover. Those are the foundation we need to put in place. We are talking about our military activities in the past 2 weeks. It has been excellent. We're talking about our policing activity. They are trying their best. But in all, these people they are not spirits. It is the people living within the community that will tell themselves that we don't want this thing to happen. We say no to terrorism. We say no to banditry. We say no to kidnapping. But as long as the people living within the community, they are enjoying from the loot that is coming from this thing, is going to be a very, very tedious task.
Okay, let me find out from you what you think can be done to prevent further violence or even cases of accidental discharge.
For violence, there are 2 things you have said. Violence 1, accidental discharge 2. For the issue of violence, what is the foundation of violence? Violence does not affect an individual, it affects a community, it affects a state, it affects a nation. So it is when the people say no to violence, that is when you cannot have a collaboration between the security agency working in those environments, making sure that their patriotic spirit is at forefront. The leadership within that community, they all come together. Let me use a case study. When the whole world know the community like Adebola as a violent, criminal-minded environment. So when we look at the environment, this is where we were born, and we want to change this narration. We have to bring stakeholders together, map out what are the causes of this violence. Let's tackle it. We bring all the security agents together, and we confront our challenges. And today, the issue of violence has reduced. So the people must first of all come together and say, okay, we want to stop this thing. Then you bring in the security agency together. Then on the other aspects, there's nothing like accidental discharge. Mistakes are liable to come. But on what happened on this accidental discharge, I don't want to go too much further on that because there are more conspiracy in it than we can imagine. Even within the military themselves, certain folks never want peace to reign because they are making money from this operation that is all going on. So all to drop or to reduce the morale of this military officer that are on the field, it can also cause an accidental discharge. Accidental discharge that is to reduce the morale of the military officer. Imagine, okay, if what happened in Kaduna last week, the whole world keep making noise about it. How do you think the military will do the work they've done last week, the one they've done this week? We would not have done that. You have dropped their morale. So the accidental discharge also has its own conspiracy. There's nothing like accidental discharge. You can't just drop a bomb at a go. It's not done. It's not. We just need to be sincere with
Okay,
ourselves
if I may
because we're
chip
talking
in,
about
Mr.
lives.
Ojobaro, how do you think the presence of armed groups like Boko Haram and bandits, for instance, affect the stability of Nigeria, and what role do they play in perpetuating insecurity?
Me and you know that you cannot leave the shore of this country without people looking at you as a terrorist, especially if you are from the north. If you are traveling down to ordinary Ghana alone, they are suspecting you. How much do you want to go to America? If you are from the north, you are a suspect. It's because of this terrorism is affecting us, not just economically alone, it's affecting the image of our country. It's destroying our people. So if we all understand that this thing is affecting us, every one of us, either you're in the south, you're in the north, you're in the east, you're in the west, we need to come together as Nigeria to put an end to this thing. We must all decide that we want to put an end to it.
Okay, Mr. Michael, let's look at the impact the conflict has had on the daily lives of ordinary citizens in affected areas, and how can the government help them recover?
The first step is the sincerity from the part of the government without playing politics, without looking at, okay, Kaduna is for APC or Katsina is for APC or Sokoto is for PDP. It's the sincerity from the part of the government in that state. We should be able to prioritize the welfare of our citizens, every human being. If you go to the north, it look as though they are not human beings. It look as though the life of people living in the north, they are different from we living in the south. But we are all Nigerian. So when we step aside politics and look at the life, look, okay, thank you very much. Look at what is happening in Borno State. You see a governor that is decisive, a governor that is passionate, a governor that wants to see a change in our people. You see the input is putting down there. What is happening in Zamfara? What is happening in Katsina? What is happening in Kaduna? What is happening in Niger State? So the government too must be able to forget politics and look at the welfare of the citizen. And one of the things that will make the citizen to enjoy peace and security, it is when the government put things in place. It is not for us to say, okay, after people have been displaced or people have been kidnapped, what are we going to do? We apologize for what? We are apologizing for decades. We have been saying sorry for decades. But what can we do to avoid our proactiveness?
Talking
In
about what
settling
can we do, Mr. Michael, permit me to chip in there. What role do you think local communities, for instance, play in addressing the insecurity and conflict, and how can they be supported to do so?
Like, for instance, if I am being called to consult for the community like Biri now, the first thing I would do is to get the community leaders together, buy up their minds on why they should be able to like pursue peace. Look into what are those things that is making these people to go into violence or to support terrorism. There's so much hardship in those states, in those villages. There's so much hardship, there's so much hunger. So one can be able to like look into how can be able to develop those local communities and make sure that what they have a lot of national resources in those local communities. What they have, what can we do to make these people meaningful? Let them live like human beings and buy their mind. Then we can be able to now come together and say, okay, as Tunduwari community, Biri community, we don't want criminality, we don't want terrorism. All of us will be able to move ahead. We'll call in the police. Then we see the support police. If they need to bring the army, we bring them in. But the first thing is we as a people in Tunduwari will be able to come together. We need technical discussion. We need a passionate discussion with them to be able to make a decision of how we want to build our community.
Has there been any, positive development or initiatives in fighting insecurity and violence, and what can we learn from them?
In the Southwest here, there's so much that is being put in place. For instance, in a place like Lagos, the Lagos State government was giving a testimony recently that there's never been bank robbery in Lagos State in the past 4 years. Something was done. It does not happen by magic. security of a society, of a community, is not by mistake. It is what is garbage in, garbage out. So once the people within any community decided that they want peace, they will get peace. If they say they don't want peace, they will continue to face what they are facing, where certain people are enjoying from these things. So the first thing we need to do is for us to be able to look, security of every community is peculiar. What is happening in Kaduna is different from what is happening in Zamfara. What is happening in Zamfara is different from what is happening in Niger State. So the peculiarity of each community, each state, it is what we are going to look into and tackle it based on your peculiarity.
Thank you so much for joining me on the news. Ojobaro Michael, Peace and Security Analyst. Thank you for your time once again.
Well, thank you very much for having me.